Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. One man's story of living with young onset dementia as a charity announces plans for a new centre of excellence.
It's degrading, it removes dignity, it removes love, it removes connections, it removes safety.
We'll hear more about the proposals and how they could improve lives. Also tonight, more tests at Two Rivers in Yorkshire, but will the new swimming sites actually be clean for bathers and wildlife? Rob Burrow watches on as his marathon takes over Leeds with thousands lining the streets. And how the bleeps, bloops, bits and bytes of yesteryear could be a big business idea for tomorrow.
Well, it's been another beautiful day. Look at the River Nid in Knaresborough. Fantastic conditions, however, the rest of the week looks much more unsettled. Join me for the detailed forecast.
Hello there, I hope you had a lovely weekend. Thanks for joining us on Monday's Look North. First tonight, a Harrogate man whose father has young onset dementia has described the heartbreak of watching his dad become a shell of his former self. Mark Thicketts was just 54 when he was diagnosed with the disease almost a decade ago. His comments come as the charity Dementia Forward announces plans to create a new centre of excellence for young onset dementia in Yorkshire. It's the latest stage of their campaign to improve access to age-appropriate care. Now, in a moment, we'll be speaking to their chief executive, but first, our health correspondent, Jamie Coulson, has been to a care home the charity has already worked with to hear Mark's story.
Hey Dad, how are you doing? It is constantly like losing the person you love. Every day they forget something that they've known their entire life. Every time they get your name wrong, it's like you're already watching them die every time. They are both not here, but they're also not gone yet.
Mark Thickett was just 54 when he was diagnosed with young onset dementia.
You can leave the spoon. Leave it on you. Yeah, leave it on your page so we don't lose it, that'll do.
Now 63, the disease has slowly robbed him of the life he once lived.
The disease is probably one of the most awful things I can think of. It's degrading, it removes dignity, it removes love, it removes connections, it removes safety. Remember that cheeky face?
Mark moved into the manor at St Catherine's last November, a new facility which caters specifically for those with young onset dementia. It was developed by Welburn Care Homes after an approach by the charity Dementia Forward, who'd been campaigning for more age-appropriate care. It's based around the model of a typical home, rather than a care home.
It's very unlike any other care facility that we provide. We've got 14 care homes. It's a home where we have the kitchen facilities, we have days out all the time, we're out in the garden, we're doing all of those day-to-day activities that you would do normally at home.
What you're wanting to create is that feeling of inner safety inside.
Professor David Sheard from York St John University is an expert in dementia care and has helped develop the home.
What's critical for younger people living with dementia is for them to feel the same things we all feel. Loved, that we feel secure, that we have belonging, that we're busy and occupied, that we feel safe, and that we're in an environment that replicates as close as possible to the families that we've been living with, the homes we've been living in.
Sending him to a place where everybody else was physically infirm or bedbound and 30 years older than him would have felt unfair. Oh look, they've got a little bird box. He came here and not only has it removed an entire weight of stress off my chest, but it's improved him so much. I still love my dad, he's still my dad, and the flashes of the old dads make the bad times worth it, because it is nice to see him again when he's there.
Well, I'm joined now by Jill Quinn, who's the Chief Executive of Dementia Forward. Jill, what a fantastic care home that is, and we can see what a difference it is making.
Exciting.
The right care in the right setting.
Yeah.
Why aren't there more care homes like this that are geared to people with young onset dementia?
I think it's been ignored because of the data was all wrong, etc. We spoke about this, didn't we, a while ago, and the campaign first and foremost was about raising awareness and getting the data right. And we've kind of proved it by stealth, really. So we're now, well, we've doubled the amount of people referred into our services, and we knew the next step then was to be able to lay those figures out in front of people and ask them to start thinking about those next stages, so respite and care. And Rachel at Welburn was brave enough to grasp the nettle and help us to prove that point.
And how important is it to have the correct care for the correct age group?
So important. We see people with young onset dementia sometimes sectioned, and that is purely because of the care being wrong, and that can't be right.
No.
So yes, so important, and it's down to every detail. It's down to the food people eat is different through the generations, the amount of activity that they need, the decor, it's everything. But also being amongst peers, so that when Matt is visiting his father Mark, he's amongst people of his own age. That's important as well.
So the big picture is this centre of excellence. You have the location.
Yep.
When can we expect it to be open, and what will you be doing there?
I really hope we can say it'll be open within the next year. We've got the building, thanks to Lavender Fields allowing us to use that beautiful space. Now it's about funding. And what it will do, well, it's about, first and foremost, education and training so that other care homes can begin to replicate that model. So we're going to start to train, and then we'll be running wellbeing services and outreach. It's the whole A to Z of how to support people effectively who have young onset dementia.
Well, keep in touch with us, won't you, and let us know how it goes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. Next night, 3 stretches of river in Yorkshire have been designated new bathing sites by the government, but there's no guarantee that they'll actually be safe for swimming. It means 2 areas on the wharf in Wetherby and 1 on the Nid in Knaresborough will get regular testing to monitor water quality. It comes after campaigners highlighted their concern over high levels of pollution in the rivers. Kathy Killick has more.
It is a truly beautiful stretch of the River Nid in Knaresborough, and locals have been enjoying it for years. And today it's been added to a list of designated bathing areas in Yorkshire, including 2 more in Wetherby. They join the River Wharf in Ilkley that was designated 3.5 years ago. But since then, water testing has revealed consistently poor water quality. So what does designation actually mean? And what difference will it make?
Well, of course, we will constantly monitor, and that's the role of the Environment Agency, not only as the regulator but also the enforcer. And through our plan for water, which is about more investment, stronger regulation and tougher enforcement, it enables us to hold those who are polluting our river networks, our coastal environments and our lakes, if they are polluting, hold them to account.
The River Wharf was one of the first rivers to be designated a bathing site, but it hasn't really gone particularly well. How would you sum up the progress so far?
It is classified as poor, but that has enabled us to hold those who have been polluting the River Wharf's feet to the fire, which is why Yorkshire Water have invested a huge amount of money into Ilkley, £15 million in terms of improving the sewage system there, and there is more projects and more money being spent by Yorkshire Water down the line.
David Claydon is a fly fisherman who's been shocked by the signs of sewage pollution he's seen on the Nid. He set up the Nid Action Group, who used citizen scientists to test the water. The results were alarming.
Our surveys show that the river has a very high level of E. coli, particularly under wet conditions where there's a lot of stuff coming off the fields, as well as from the overflows, storm water overflows, which is what got us going in the first place.
Designation means water from the River Nid will now regularly end up here at the Environment Agency's labs in Devon. Pollution levels will be posted on the SwimFo website, and if it's bad, work can start to put it right. But the swimmers here are sceptical. I asked them what difference they thought it would all make.
Honestly, none. None. I really hope it does make a difference, but we've had it in Bottom Spa and in Ilkley, and it's made no difference whatsoever.
I have a choice to go into the water, but the fish, the ducks, you know, the wildlife don't have a choice. So for me, that's my main concern, is the conservation of what's living in there. I never put my face in, I never put my head under, and in 4 years I've never been sick, so I've been very lucky, I think.
With so many people wanting to enjoy our rivers, their current state has become a political issue. In an election year, being seen to take action is a no-brainer. But any clean-up prompted by the new testing is likely to take years. Cathy Killick, BBC Look North, Knaresborough.
It's certainly been the weather for it, hasn't it? You're watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. Paul will be here to tell us whether the fabulous Northern Lights show was really as good as the pictures. But before that, campaigners in Yorkshire have welcome plans to ban sex offenders from changing their names to avoid detection. Now, last year, the BBC revealed more than 700 sex offenders couldn't be located by police over 3 years, largely due to identity change. The new rules follow a campaign by Rotherham MP Sarah Champion and a victim of grooming in the town. But does it go far enough? Michelle Lyons reports.
The main reason for child sexual exploitation is because these people that carry out the act, they see the vulnerabilities of the children. My vulnerability were that I didn't quite fit in at school and I was bullied, so they took that opportunity to make me feel part of something.
Elizabeth was one of many vulnerable young people exploited by grooming gangs in Rotherham. Hundreds of children, some as young as 11, were sexually abused over a 15-year period. The announcement a new law's been passed preventing convicted sex offenders from changing their names is welcome news.
We'll always have predators, but it's about closing that loophole, closing that circle, making sure that children are not being raped, abused, trafficked because they've got that vulnerability.
Sarah Champion, the MP for Rotherham, represented the town when the child sex abuse scandal was exposed in 2016. She's been trying to prevent convicted sex offenders from changing their names for the past 5 years.
We've seen registered sex offenders who turn up in care homes, they turn up in schools, and we find that out once they've reoffended. So what will happen now is that won't be able to occur. So we'll be able to protect a lot more people.
Last year, the BBC revealed more than 700 sex offenders had slipped off the police radar over a 3-year period, many due to an identity change. The Safeguarding Alliance believes the new law is well overdue.
If they get a driving licence in a new name, they can take their passport and their driving licence off to the DBS and get a clean police certificate, even though they've been in prison. So we're hoping that this ban will tighten up the safe recruitment process to effectively mitigate registered sex offenders trying to work with children or adults at risk.
The police will be in charge of enforcing the new clause, and any breaches will be punishable by up to 5 years in prison.
So this is one step in the right direction. What else do you think needs to be done?
My perpetrator got out and he wasn't allowed in Rotherham and got caught in January and had to go back to prison. We need to see more accountability within organisations like police forces, local authorities, and no child ever deserves to be harmed or let down like we were.
A 17-year-old questioned over an attack on a Leeds United fan has been released on bail by police in Norfolk. The teenager was arrested following the Championship playoff semi-final at Norwich yesterday. A Leeds fan in his 60s ended up with wounds to his face and chin. A second man, aged 50, has been charged with assaulting an emergency worker in the same incident. The BBC drama Happy Valley was among the big winners at the BAFTAs last night. Sarah Lancashire picked up Best Actress and it won Best Memorable Moment for the scene where Sergeant Catherine Kaywood has a final showdown with bad boy Tommy Lee Royce in her kitchen. The third and final series, based on the Calder Valley, brought in 8 million viewers a week.
Now, thousands of people took part in the Rob Burrow Leeds Marathon yesterday, and Rob and his family were on the start line to wave everyone off. The event is expected to raise millions of pounds for charities, including helping to build the Rob Burrow Centre for Motor Neurone Disease. And it was a moving day for everyone, with many of the runners having their own personal reasons for getting involved.
So we're running for the Alzheimer's Society and I'm running for my dad.
I'm running for Motor Neurone Disease for Leslie.
I'm running for MND for my friend Paul. Who sadly missed, will always be missed.
Thank you for making this an incredible event.
and it's great to see Rob here alongside us. Great to see Lindsay and the family. We know that they're at the centre of this. We'll keep banging the drum.
3, 2, 1. Good luck, everybody. Heading out on the Rob Burrow Leeds Marathon.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? We knew it'd be busy, but it's just, there's so many people, so many wonderful, cheerful people. Oh, and that's a nice thing. We're all wishing each other the best, you know.
Feel amazing, like the crowd's unbelievable, best race I've ever done in my life.
Bit tired, but pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, amazing out there. Atmosphere's unbelievable. Leeds just do it, something else.
The MND community will be proud of today again. They know that people care, they know that people want to bang the drum, they know that people want to run for them, which is incredible. The spirit in Yorkshire, the spirit in Leeds is something you can't recreate anywhere. It's the best city in the world.
Well done to everyone who took part in that. What an incredible event that is.
Oh yeah, and it is such an amazing atmosphere. Boiling hot as well, wasn't it, yesterday? So well done to everyone who took part. Great to see Ian Flat there as well. Now, computer games have changed a lot, haven't they? Nowadays, it's less about arcades and more about the latest home downloads. In our part of the world, we've got a strong gaming reputation, from the developers' studios and video game museum in Sheffield to one particular retro arcade in Halifax, where you can still while away the hours shooting invaders from space. One man has even got a plan to set up a touring exhibition of his prized vintage games. Tom Ingle is in his element.
Sorry, what? You want me to do the report now? But I'm busy. Now you've put me off of my research.
Here is Got Humpty Dumpty from 1947, and this is the first pinball machine that ever had flippers on it.
Ryan Pearson runs Blast from the Past in the Peace Hall in Halifax. He adores his retro games.
These are some of the most important historical games ever made, because these are the beginning of video games. So to me, they're works of art and they need to be preserved for the future generations there.
Which one's your favourite?
That's like asking me my favourite child. I couldn't pick there. Oh.
Ryan is not the only Halifax hipster looking to turn a profit from the past. Fraser often drops into the shop for classic console convo. He's about to turn his home collection into a touring museum.
So what have you got in here?
So this is Retro Game Museum, and this is a collection of consoles, both desk-based and handheld, from the 70s through to probably the late 90s.
What's the thing that you pluck off the shelf and brandish and say, I've got this and nobody else has?
Probably the Neo Geo collection here. So some of these games were made in super limited numbers. They're fantastic games. They were originally intended for people to rent. They never expected people to buy them, and this is the only complete set of Neo Geo games in the UK.
I picked one up, and then when I was told how much it might cost to buy, I quickly put it away again. Needless to say, Fraser's house is an Aladdin's cave, if Aladdin had been the sort of boy who hung around in arcades.
I'm guessing we're gentlemen of a certain age, and this speaks to our childhood, but where does your passion come from?
Exactly that. The connection to games that I played back in the day, the fact that I think we've lost something with digital downloads, you know, having a physical game that you can plug in, the artwork, everything around it, and games that are really simple and easy just to pick up and play. It's fantastic to have, you know, and to have in the room here, but really the excitement once you've kind of collected everything is to see people actually enjoying the hardware, plugging in the games and enjoying them just as they were back when they were new.
Ironically, this is no game for Fraser. He's leaving a long-standing government job to set up a touring retro games museum. He'll bring the bits and bytes, you'll bring the skills, if you've still got them. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Halifax.
Certainly something in that, isn't there? Now, did you see them? The northern lights were visible across our region over the weekend, lighting up the night sky. The colours seen in the skies above the cities as well as in rural areas really inspired lots of you to send in these incredible images. Let's take a look. Wow, they are absolutely stunning. Paul is here with this week's weather view. This was the only subject that we could discuss. Loads of questions about it. I'm absolutely gutted, Paul, because I missed it. What caused this at the weekend?
Well, it remains one of the best natural phenomena that you would ever wish to see. Electrical charged particles coming in from the sun, colliding with the atmosphere, and when they collide with oxygen atoms, we see that as a green colour, and when it's nitrogen, we see that as a pink colour, and hence the Northern Lights.
It feels like we've discussed it quite a lot of late, but is this quite rare?
Well, it's all part of the 11-year solar cycle. We're at the peak of, I think, solar cycle 25. 11 years ago, the solar cycle was quite weak, so actually, the last time we had such a showing was back in 2003, so you do have to go back 21 years for the last display.
Missed it Friday.
Yeah.
Couldn't see anything on Saturday.
Well,
was it as good as people are saying and as we're seeing on social media?
That's a really good question. I looked out, I knew where to look on Friday night. I could see nothing, even though social media was going berserk. So I conducted an experiment and I pointed my smartphone to the sky. Have a look at this. Even though I couldn't see anything, that's what my smartphone saw. So one of the issues now is, to the naked eye, you can't see as much as you can with a camera lens and with a smartphone. And certainly where there's a bit of light pollution, like yourself, many people were disappointed. The best view was out in the countryside. But, social media, I'm not saying it misrepresents what was happening out there. There were some vivid displays, but the camera lens is definitely exaggerating what you could have seen with the naked eye.
You made me feel a bit better now.
That's
Thanks,
all right.
Paul. So we want people to get in touch about next week.
Yes,
so how
we
can
do.
we get in touch?
Yes, we can use our smartphone again. If you want to point it at the QR code, which should be on your screen, there we are. I've had lots of questions in the last few weeks. The jet stream seems a very good one, so keep them coming in and we'll have another chat about the weather on Monday evening. Now, let me show you a couple of pictures from last night because it was very vivid across the Pennines in particular. That was a storm lightning that was taken in Keighley. Some incredible rainfall totals. A rate of 59 millimetres an hour was falling in Keighley at one point, and that was skipped, and obviously the same storm system that then moved up to Wharfdale. Keep the pictures coming in if you want to get them on the telly, on Twitter, Instagram or the Weather Watcher website. So unfortunately, for now at least, this fine and warm weather is coming to an end. Tomorrow, a very different day. It's cloudy and there'll be some outbreaks of rain around at times. Low pressure taking over. We've had high pressure for a week, low pressure taking over. That said, once we get to the second half of the week, we're looking at sunny intervals and scattered showers. And fingers crossed, next weekend is not looking too bad. The other feature is temperatures remain above average for the time of the year. Now there's tomorrow's rain. It's really struggling to get into the west. It's covering Wales, the Irish Sea, but it's got some way to go before it comes across the region. So a nice evening. Overnight we'll see some patchy rain developing across the Pennines. Later tonight we'll see that rain moving into central parts of Yorkshire. Temperatures coming in at around about 12 or 13, so a mild night to come. Tomorrow's high water times then: Filey 9:22, Bridlington at 9:32. So if it's dry when you get up, it's not going to last. A wet morning developing across Yorkshire with outbreaks of locally heavy rain in the morning, but I think that weather front will weaken from the southwest, so perhaps a little bit of brightness coming into the Peak District late afternoon. Temperatures around 17 Celsius. And tomorrow evening, patchy rain in the east, but a little bit better across western areas if you're lucky. A little bit of evening sunshine, and that is the forecast.
Something a bit different tonight, Paul. Our viewers are seeing us warts and all because we are officially in high definition.
Oh, dear me.
Better get that powder on. That's it from us. Tom Ingle is here with the late news tonight, but from the 6:30 team, bye-bye, have a nice evening.